Thanks for tuning in to Single, Celibate, and Unemployed. And I'm your host, Lacien Safari. So, today's topic is updating. Where have you been? But most importantly, what are your entanglements? Stay tuned. I returned from retirement, if anyone's thinking, yes. And besides me growing out my underarm hair, I've done a lot in these 3 months. So right now, I'm a resident of California. So I did a road trip from New York and I moved to LA, yes, in the midst of Corona. And people are like, oh my God, you're traveling, you're moving. Yeah, it's a road trip. I'm social distancing at the same time. But I didn't realize how in the midst of moving and driving, it was so calming. And it was like in Wyoming, I realized how anxious I've been while I've been in New York. And it wasn't until I was in the open road, I'm like, because I was gripping the steering wheel every so often. Like, how would you have to do these exercises as I'm driving? Just like, relax, it's okay. And was I scared driving by myself across the country? No. To be honest, I enjoy driving, so it was more of a way to get away, move. Because people are like, you could have flown quickly, and quicker. And yes, I would have gotten there sooner, but it's again, in life, it's not about the destination, which I am learning. It's about the journey. And in the process of me driving, I actually got over anxiety. And just being in California was just like a different shift for me. And so since I've been here, a couple of things I've learned. Huge thing I've learned is trust. And it's not just a one-time thing. For me, it's a continual trust. But I've gotten to a state of deeper trust than I've ever been in, where even when it comes to my relationship with God or relationships per se, I realize a lot of people have issues, like issues. And people are like, duh. But what I mean is, I'm just gonna piggyback off of entanglement. So in just to kind of talk about entanglement, I realized that as I was watching, this is gonna all come together. As I was watching Will and Jada talk about their entanglement and things of that nature, and people are probably questioning, is it marriage that's the problem? Is it this that's the problem? Is it that? Is it this societal standards? And this may work for that person and that may work for this person, etc., etc., etc. You know what I've learned? Marriage is not the problem. Like I mentioned in one of my other episodes, it's single people problems that have come into the marriage. Yeah, my nails aren't finished. But the point is, they need to be taken off. It's single people problem that comes into this union, and then people are like, oh, it's a marital problem. And I'm like, no. So as I'm listening to Jada talk, all I heard was more of like, deal with your single people problem. A person is not going to make you happy. Married, divorced, if you have 10 men, 5 men, 1 man, no man, a person, or for guys, woman, whatever, you don't understand. So multiple individuals are not going to bring you joy. You have to find your own joy in life. So when people are like, oh, this is not happy, they can have all the money, they can have even the cutest husband, because Will is kind of cute, and adorable kitties, because her kids are adorable. They're grown folks now, but the point is, find your happiness, because no one can give it to you. That's what I've learned. So in the midst of that, and that's what I heard. So it wasn't about wrong, right, or who's right and who's wrong, and it's more of deal with your single people problems before you try to lump it onto somebody else and call it a marital problem. And one of my single people problems I realized that I had was trust issues. Yes. No, but seriously though, people think that because they're in a relationship, they're in some form of level or hierarchy, or they've made it to somewhere, and it's like, oh my goodness, I've elevated to this new level of life. And it's like, it's not an elevation, it's just a different situation. And each situation comes with their own challenges. And for me, what I've learned since I've been in a transition with Move, trusting God even more, was trusting. And I realized that trust is something that not many people have. All these lyrics, oh, I trust nobody, oh, all my friends are dead, oh, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people like, trust. It's like no one wants to fully trust, but people want to be in relationships. And I don't understand that. And I'm learning, or what I've learned so far is I had to get to the root of my trust issues. There are a couple, but there's just one huge root that was really affecting me. And it happened when I was in Jamaica, actually, when I was about 5. And it's gonna be a little sad story. And so here's the thing. When I was about 5 in Jamaica, I'm one of 10 family members. And so, yes, I have tons of siblings. And in the process, my parents took over 5 to the US, and the younger 5 stayed behind in Jamaica. And in the process, we were with a caretaker. I was one of the younger 5 who stayed back in Jamaica. And we were there, and what took place was the caretaker abandoned us. And we basically, as young kids, had to fend for ourselves, while our parents in the US thinking that we're taken care of. Yeah. And so there was a period where we starved. There's a period where we were hungry. There's a period where there was abandonment issues. There's a period where there was, you name it, it was there. And so a couple weeks ago, I feel like God is teaching me how to trust, how to get to the next level, and it's like trust. And I realized I don't trust. Like, if God will give me 10 million today, I'd be like, I don't know if I can trust you tomorrow. So thank you right now. And people are like, why you don't trust? And I realized it was because of that. The root was me, I guess I'm gonna use the word neglected when I was younger, unknowingly. So it's not blaming anyone, but the situation took place, it occurred, and it affected me in some way or form, and others as well, but I'm just speaking for me. And so for me, I had to learn trust because of that situation where I was younger and I had to fend for myself, per se. That's what it felt like. Even as I grew older, I felt like I had to do it on my own. If I'm not gonna, like, if I can't get it done, nobody else will. Like, I can't trust people to get X, Y, and Z done because I have to take on that and do it. So for someone to say, oh, I'm gonna go do this and do that, and I'm like, I don't know if I fully trust you that you're gonna do it, you know? So I got to the root of that over the past couple weeks. And it's the funny thing, just to have that story in a positive note. I remember one time my brother and I were starving, really, and we started singing, and I was like, let's sing this song. All right, we're like, feed me, Lord, my soul is hungry. I don't know where the song came from. I don't know where it came from. And we made it up on the spot. And we started singing, feed me, Lord, my soul is hungry. And after we were singing, these little kids, us, we weren't hungry anymore. And what I realized too, there was moments where we had to eat such and such, but it was more of like, there's that moment in my life where I realized something bigger than myself existed. And it happened when I was about 5. And so yeah, so what, plus years later, I'm not telling you my age, and it has made me look on a different perspective. Like, in the midst of hardship, God is still there. Certain situations were not planned, or that's not what God intended, but it still took place, and He's still able to use that situation, mold you with that situation, and you will triumph through that situation. So for me, I'm learning to trust God even more, because not going back to what took place to me in the past, I didn't realize that I wasn't fully trusting God. But until I was actually fasting, and that brought up in my mind, I'm like, oh, I still feel like I have to go through life and do it on my own, because I can't trust those who were supposed to take care of me to take care of me. And so I had, shed some tears, things of that nature. So I had to get past that, because even if I was in a relationship, or even relationship myself, or relationship with God, or relationship to people, I would still have carried on that lack of trust and lone soldier mentality, and do it on your own, or get it done, and willpower, And again, life is not about doing it on your own and get it done and forcing an outcome. And sometimes you need a team. And so this journey to California has been more of a spiritual growth, maturity, just developing. And yes, I'm actually gonna see a therapist. And yes, it's always good to talk to somebody. And so that's my update. So will I have videos on forward? Yes, I'm gonna have videos. I'm gonna kick back in gear and get back to being single, celibate, and unemployed. no, I'm just joking. But and if you guys know any topics, let me know. La, 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 la.